Wrap the News. Here we have the lava pits of planet hell spewing lava out of them in broad daylight. And that is what's going on. There is a planet, and the brightness of the lava pits is so bright that we're picking that up, but we're not picking up the planet with our perception. But soon we will. Everybody will pick up that planet on the horizon very soon. And here we have Google Maps, folks. And here on Google Maps, there was a planet spotted by the sun. So here you are looking at homes and things like that on Google Maps, and you look closely at the sun and you see something under it. You kind of zoom in on it, you know, put a filter and look, and it's a damn planet that's sitting right there, right off of Google Maps, you know, like bam, surprise, here it is, you know, right in your face. And you put a darker filter on it, and it looks very damning. And then we have right here some big planet-like thing in a dust cloud, you know. And so it looked like the number 6 is floating through the sky. But it's like, whatever it is, it's a planet, and it's moving very fast and awkward inside of a dust cloud. And just being spotted all over the place, this number 6 planet. We're going to zoom in on it right now. And so that's it right there. And as you see, it is in a dust cloud, and it is going through the sky, and you can't quite make out what it is. But we do know, like the title says, his kingdom is nigh. Repent, turn back to the Lord. Don't play games with your salvation. Worship the Most High God alone. This is Wrap the News.
Too hard, but let's keep going on in our interview. I know that there is this website, eagle.com, which is a government military website, and it predicts population of the United States in 2025 being only 100 million. We are talking about
167 million, I believe. We're going to have a 200 million reduction.
No, it was 100 million.
Was 100
I think,
million?
yes.
Okay.
It's about reduction, 2/3 of Americans. Do you think that they predicted this because their predictions are they are doing predictions by AI in a quantum computers based on something? Do you think that that prediction was made based on this coming event?
Well, let's look at the word prediction. A prediction is somebody saying something that they believe might happen. But I can say, for example, Yana, the sun's going to come up tomorrow morning over Florida. Is that a prediction?
Yes.
No, that's not a prediction
that's a fact,
at all.
Right? It's a fact.
That's not a prediction at all. And what Deagle is saying, I don't believe is a prediction. They know what's coming.
Oh, wow.
If you know what's coming, if I know the sun's coming up tomorrow morning, that's not a prediction. If Deagle knows the population will be 100 million people, it's not a prediction. And I'll give you a real world example. One of my listeners sent me a link it was around May of 2008. And they got a hold of a notice that went out to all the people who were investors at the Royal Bank of Scotland, or RBS, a bank which I believe this year, in about 2 or 3 years, they'll finish their third century and start their 4th century of being a bank, the Royal Bank of Scotland. And this was June of 2008. The warning they sent to their customers saying the following, and I went public with this I had a Sunday show at the time, the last Sunday of June 2008, and it's archived. Ladies and gentlemen, sell all stocks and bonds before the end of September this year, September 2008, because it's soon to happen worldwide crash of the stock and bond market. Now, Royal Bank of Scotland was not making a prediction. They were saying what would happen because they knew what would happen. Deagle is not making a prediction. They're saying what's going to happen because they know what's going to happen. Deagle is a private think tank hired by Fortune 500 companies and the government to tell Fortune 500 companies and the government what will happen. Not predict what will happen, but what will happen.
Excuse me, John, in light of what you just said there, it's kind of interesting because Glenn, who is advisor to the president, had shared with me that the scientists were actually thinking that 2010 was going to be the passing of this binary system, and he said, but they were off. And so I have often gone back and looked at the events of preceding 2010, such as the crash in 2008. I think, what was it, the SARS virus was out at that time?
Some kind of virus.
Everything that we have now with the coming crash, etc., seems to be in step. And he actually told me that what they had to do was artificially pump back up the economy once they realized that it was not, that they had gotten it wrong. He said the only difference is between now and then is that Miami is 4 inches underwater being pumped off artificially, so they realize now the system is very close, not to mention the fact that when Obama was president and John Kerry goes to the South Pole, they were looking at it from that particular vantage point, that yes, they do know now it's almost here.
Well, that would be a plausible explanation for John Kerry being in the Antarctic on Election Day 2016, Vladimir Putin being down there within the same time frame, the Pope and the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church being down there in about the same time frame, and we don't know how many others who aren't important enough to know when they travel someplace, as opposed to those major world leaders. That would be a plausible explanation for them being there, wouldn't it, Steve?
I think so, John.
Yes. Well, and then also, you know, after the event, there is this danger of power-hungry New World Order taking over, right?
Well, what they want to do, and this is in my paper also, so no need for panic, before the event, first of all, the event will shut down everything. There's not going to be any airline travel. Ports will be destroyed, ocean, for loading and offloading these ships and so forth. What they want to do, Yana, is have as much of their shiny New World Order in place before they get shut down also.
Yes.
So when they come out of wherever their safe havens are, that they have something to build on. The Chinese may be the best at this. The Chinese are colonizing sub-Saharan Africa. They plan on colonizing the United States with no Americans and other parts of the world. The Chinese know in their hearts that the 21st century is their century. And they look at the Planet X events as a bump in the road that they will overcome, feeling that they have enough hundreds of millions of people to have plenty of Chinese left over, no matter how many they lose, to take over and run the world. Because the Chinese know that they're the most handsome and beautiful, the most intelligent, the most athletic, the best people on the planet. You don't know what racism is since you've been around Chinese. You really don't.
Yeah, that's right. Communism.
I mean, seriously, you don't.
It's
Yeah.
true.
It is, yeah.
So they're in a process of putting all the pieces in place. The Silk Road that comes out of the Hindu Kush goes all the way to Africa, the branch that goes up through Europe, and that's their plan, and they're carrying out their plan to colonize sub-Saharan Africa, to colonize the United States, probably much of South America. I don't know how much, but maybe all of it. And that's their plan, Yana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't doubt it, because I even see the work of New World Order right now, taking our liberties and everything. But
before you go to your question, let me make a quick comment on that too, John. Glenn from the White House had said that the several places on the planet that would be relatively unscathed, but not, of course, without dramatic changes, and it would be sub-Saharan Africa, as you mentioned. It would be eastern Israel, Syria, that belt going across over into Iraq, and even central China. They will also come out very well from these events, and therefore they would be the next formidable force, which was confirmed by one friend that I had with active connections in the Mossad, who said that China would be the next world superpower.
Well, now we know why all these wars were happening, John. But anyway, but I want to. Let's go to the really map of the United States. Let's talk practical things now for the listeners. I know everybody has questions. We are not live, so I don't have live questions, but I do have some questions because I have warned people that I'm going to have you, well, warned. I have informed people that I will have you on, and they send me questions. But anyway, which areas of the United States are safe? First, because I'm a Floridian, please tell me about Florida as an entire state. What is the predicted future for that state?
Well, the highest elevation in Florida, I believe, is Let's back up a bit. I was having lunch with a friend, Navy Submarine Corps and Navy SEAL, and he told me about the classified briefing he was in, that the U.S. Navy put on in 1985, where he saw the map that's on my website, showing North America with new coastlines and an inland sea. Within 4 weeks, I had a pistol student. I teach concealed carry training, who was a retired officer from the U.S. Navy, and then only a few weeks after that, a retired intelligence officer who was also at the classified briefing. All three men worked with me to recreate the map that they were shown in these classified Navy briefings. That said, Florida's finished. There will be no more Florida. It'll be completely gone. And let's see, the map is here at my website at thelibertyman.com. Don't use your search engine. Just put it right in your browser, thelibertyman.com, and you can see the map now. It's not supposed to be exact to the exact foot or even the exact mile. It's a map that shows in general where the water will be. Mm-hmm. So beginning at the Canadian border with Maine, you can see most of Maine is underwater. The East Coast takes damage typically 50 to 100 miles inland. Getting down to Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, there's something called the Blue Ridge Parkway. And the water will come up right up to the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is typically 100 miles plus from the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. Getting down to Georgia, most of Georgia's gone. And we've got Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Most of them are underwater. Texas loses their coast up to about 100 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. The inland sea goes all the way up to Canada. Most of Illinois is underwater, and parts of other states. The West Coast, it gets pretty high pretty quick up to about the middle of Oregon, where we have some lower elevations, and of course the Cascade Mountains, which is another whole issue. The Cascade Mountains are not mountains; they're dormant or semi-dormant volcanoes. That's what the Cascade Mountains are, and we're already seeing signs of them coming to life. Mount Hood, for example, is showing signs of coming to life. The inland sea will split the country in two. A friend of mine, Command Sergeant Major Dan Page, who's been with me on my radio show a number of times, he was when he was still in the Army, there was a briefing where the United States Northern Command told all the senior enlisted and the officers that they were going to split United States Northern Command, U.S. Northcom, east-west at the Mississippi River. All the men and women, all the equipment, all the supplies, split east-west at the Mississippi River. They weren't told why. My friend Command Sergeant Major Page was sitting there smiling to himself because he knew why they were doing it, because they've got no choice. It's easier to do it now and impossible to do it later. So the map's on my website at thelibertyman.com, Yana.
Yes, I'm actually looking at it right now. And you had this meeting yesterday. Did they mention, before the system comes in, did they mention asteroids before?
Yeah, well, call them rocks, call them asteroids, call them meteors, yes. They're believed to be starting to hit the Earth with some regularity beginning in September. Keeping in mind, meteors hit the planet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Most of them are so small that they burn up before they even hit the ground. But these will be large enough to survive coming through the atmosphere and cause damage when they hit. So possibly as early as September, maybe as late as November.
So, and there will be all kind of Earth changes, right, due to incoming system of all kinds of weather changes and earthquakes.
Well, eventually that would come. We've already seen part of it, and this is very important. Something that took place in June of 2010, June 12th, 2010. That's when the Gulf Stream stopped. It still comes up the East Coast, goes east about Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, towards the British Isles. It used to, up until June of 2010, go all the way across the North Atlantic to the British Isles, where it split. Some going north towards the Scandinavia, some going south towards France. That all ended June 12, 2010. Due to the decreased salinity of the world's oceans and the Atlantic Ocean, of course, which caused the ocean to lose its ability to run that Gulf Stream all the way across the ocean. Now, we interviewed, myself and Dr. Deagle, we interviewed Dr. Luigi Anzangari twice in July of 2010, and he confirmed that the Gulf Stream, in fact, he was the source of this information, he confirmed that the Gulf Stream did, in fact, stop on June 12, 2010. But he told us something that neither one of us knew, and that's the fact that the Gulf Stream used to, past tense, regulate the jet stream. There's three jet streams. There's the Northern Hemisphere, there's the Equatorial one, and the Southern Hemisphere. Our weather is basically a consequence of two things, Yana. What the jet stream does and what the jet stream does and energy from the sun. That's what determines most of our weather. And when the jet stream was being regulated, it caused it to behave in a certain predictable manner that gave men and women in agriculture something to count on in terms of dependable amounts of precipitation and dependable temperatures. That's all gone. That's all gone. The people in agriculture can no longer depend on what they had depended on for so many centuries of certain amounts of rainfall and certain temperatures at certain times of the year. That's all gone. That dependability is gone, and the ability to engage in agriculture has been greatly compromised because of the unpredictable nature of what our weather's become in the Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere, of course, is where most agriculture takes place. That's where most of the people are. The Southern Hemisphere has far less agriculture and far less people.
Yes. Well, we have international audience, John. So I have a few questions from them. Canadians are asking, what do you think of Canada and safety there? We have a lot of Europeans. I'll ask about Europe because I have a lot of family in Europe, Eastern Europe. So what do you think of these areas?
Well, the pole shift is predictable because it's happened many times. Here's what happens. First of all, there's two North Poles. There's magnetic north where the compass points, right, and there's true north where the planet revolves. True north has been in many different places over the millennium. Well, here's what happens. When the pole shift happens, true north and magnetic north are in the exact same spot. Within 3 days, magnetic north starts moving. And after about 3,600 years, it gets to where the new North Pole is going to be. And over a period of maybe 72 hours or so, magnetic north and true north line up again. Well, magnetic north is way over in Russia right now. So that's where the new North Pole is going to be, which means Canada's going to get warmer and Europe's going to get colder. That's just an unfortunate fact of life. So Canada will be farther away from the North Pole and Europe will be closer to the North Pole.
Do you have a world map as far as how continents will shift and which countries in Europe will survive?
Well, I don't, but here's what people can do. Google Earth has a way to determine what areas will be flooded, given any place on the planet. You can ask Google Earth what will it look like if the water raises 50 feet, for example, and it'll show you what will be flooded. What will it look like if the water comes up 100 feet, and it will show you. So people can do that on their own and find out themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough. So let's go. Steve has a question.
I do have a question, John. When you were speaking with your source that you have that was confirming this information for you, has there been any indication where we could most likely see one of the first impacts as far as the end of this year? Has anybody indicated anything like that as of yet on your side?
Not to me. No, I didn't hear that yet. I'm meeting with another source soon. I hope that may have that information, but I don't know it for a fact that he will.
Okay. Thank you, John.
John, as far as advice to our listeners, any practical advice that you have for people in general, as much as you can think of, as many tips as you can think of?
Well, first of all, the government's not going to take care of you. Second of all, you're going to be on your own, you and your family. There's several parts to this. One is going to be having a location that's at least 600 feet above sea level, a place that ideally is some distance from major population centers, a place that has a proprietary source of water that's drinkable, a place where food can be grown, and ideally a neighborhood of people that are somewhat independent in terms of knowing about agriculture, being able to grow food, look out for each other, and take care of each other. Communities will stand together, or communities will fail together. That's what will happen. If you think you can take your wife and children, go off in the woods, and survive without community, you're wrong. That's not going to work. Communities need to come together to take care of each other. That's what will work.
Right. Yes. Are you willing to come for a Q&A session with some of the listeners in near future?
You mean
Like
come physically to some place?
No. I wish, John. I wish we could do that again. I don't think
sure.
I don't think that's possible. But I'm saying live program, maybe on Zoom or maybe.
Well,
sure.
Even on our YouTube, we get it so fast. We'd have to just take the ones that we can see questions like that. John, one thing though, before we get too close to the end, I would like for the listeners to know you started a new thing on Tuesday on your live broadcast. Could you tell the listeners a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, my live show is on Republic Broadcasting Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central Time. And today was the second day of doing a roundtable with myself, you, Steve Ben Noon, my friend Steve O'Neill, who's a nuclear engineer, and my friend Leon Green, who's a former officer in the United States Navy. Very great panel of men who have a tremendous, the knowledge between the four of us is just spectacular. And of course, it's a live call-in show, and we take calls from the questions from the listeners. It's been well received. It has a very positive response from everybody. So today was the second day, and we're going to continue doing this as long as it makes sense to do so, Steve.
Sounds great. So we'll post a link for you guys on how you can get to Republican Broadcast to listen to that and all, of course, the other shows that John does throughout the week. I'm sure it'll be a blessing. Continue on.
Well, we are almost at the end here, friends. So, but I think I have one more question. I know the communications will be down, no doubt. So after the event, how do we communicate with our Western friends, between Eastern and Western friends now? Do you think ham radios or anything like that we can...
Well, ham radio won't work. What they call HF, high frequency. High frequency radio can talk any place on the planet, assuming both parties have the equipment and the knowledge. So that will be the way to communicate, yes.
Okay, so maybe we should start preparing for that so we know what's happening.
Well, the time is late, but it can still be done. Yeah, absolutely.
I know. Okay, well, John, sorry, my microphone fell. At this point, I just want to thank you for everything you're doing and for coming on to program with me, and wish you all the best, and stay in prayer, because I believe that we have contacts to the Most High Creator who can help us through all of this, but also form communities and like-minded friends. Steve, do you have any closing words?
Well, the thing is people need to stay informed, and John Moore is an excellent source for this. He's been in the know and has publicly been in the know and putting this information out probably longer than anyone has. And, so check out his website. Look at the information John has to offer there as well. There's products that John offers on his website. I know will be a blessing to many of you, and that's the way that John's broadcast is support is for those that look at the products that are valuable, things that are needed. So definitely check out John's website, libertyman.com. Is that right, John?
Yeah, libertyman.
TheLibertyMan.com. You can put it right in your browser. If you just search engine, you'll be at 20 different places you don't want to be. Just put it right in your browser, TheLibertyMan.com.
Very good. Thank you so much, John. Please stay on with me.
Guys.
After the end, can you stay on a little bit longer?
A few minutes, sure.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for listening, and you have a great afternoon.
Thank you, guys.
Biblical post-hypnotic suggestion. I'm not talking about 1,000 years. I'm talking about 2,700-year-old suggestion that they're responding to now. And we could actually film these people and match the prophecy with the events. And the reason it should matter is that because once they do what they have to do, they trigger the apocalypse.